the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is EDtech, episode 24, recorded Wednesday, January 22nd, 2014. $1,000 an inch. This is EdTech, the education-focused show brought to you by the fine folks at AVNation. Good afternoon. My name is Tim Albright. I'm your host. With us, as always, Mr. Scott Tyner. He's from Bates College in the great Northeast. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. Thanks for having me again today.
Absolutely, sir. Also with us, his name is Greg Brown. He's from UCLA, but he's also the chair of the Technology Managers Council at Infocom. How are you, sir?
Hello, I am just fine, and thank you for the reminder. I'll try and look up our next meeting by the time we wrap up here.
Yes, thank you.
I think it's next week.
Really? I got a meeting notice on that, yeah. So, last but not least, Ernie Bailey. Ernie is with the University of Arkansas. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
This month, we're going to talk about a number of different things. First of all, Kramer has a new device that has been certified by the HD-Base-T Alliance. Question is whether or not certifications matter, stuff like that. Also, Corning has an antimicrobial glass, and whether or not Extron, AMX, and all the boys and girls who make touch panels should start going into this. But first, we're going to talk about the 5 technologies that will, make the next 5 years kind of interesting, at least for guys in our neck of the woods. Gentlemen, here's the article is from CE Pro, Commercial Integrator. Can't even think this morning. Commercial Integrator. Here's the thing: the 5 AV technologies that will define the next 5 years. They list a number of them. First of all, being HD-Base-T, obviously AVB being another. DisplayPort, which kind of shocked me, and of course, good old HDMI, which how would we ever live without the fine captive screws that are on the HDMI connectors that never fall out. That was sarcasm, boys. So, Scott, we'll start with you. First, simple question: give me 1 or 2 technologies, whether it's something on this list or something else that you think is going to make an impact in the next few years.
So I think it's interesting because we're talking really about education here. For me, the Miracast is the one on this list that really strikes me as a changing technology. I think that when I see Chromecast example and they're trying to get you to use this for your home, I don't see the advantage of me sitting in my house getting a movie on my iPad to show on my TV right there. My smart TV's got everything I need. My Apple TV's got what I need. Maybe my Blu-ray player's got all the network connection I need. But when you're in a classroom and you can do this collaboration and cooperation from students in the room without wires and just really, really simple, 1 or 2 clicks, like we've seen with AirPlay or like we've seen with Crestron's AirMedia, Miracast promises that type of thing. So I think that in education in particular, that's going to be something that we see a lot of in the next 5 years.
Okay. Ernie, to you on this one, what's 1 or 2 technologies that you think is going to impact it, whether it's on this list or something that they may have missed?
I'm going to go with Scott on this one. I was looking at the Miracast as well. That seems to be something that is simple, that we could easily bring into the classroom. And the big deal is it does not interfere with our existing wireless networks, which is the biggest holdback we have to a lot of these technologies that we're seeing brought in that have to ride on the wireless. And there are all sorts of rules, and we're overloaded wireless-wise already as it is. When you bring something in that says it's an access point, our network people shut it down.
Yeah, and for good reason. So
yes.
All right, Greg, you and your 15 IT departments, what
34.
I'm sorry, 34 IT departments. What do you guys think is going to be something that impacts not just education, but AV in general?
I tend to agree with the guys that Miracast. I mean, if it is it's not, if it's not Apple and it works in a our sort of environment with our IT restrictions such as they are, I think it'll have some legs. I mean, when I saw that list, the technologies that'll define the next 5 years, well, yeah, HDMI and DisplayPort, if you're just talking in terms of technologies, they're going to be a great big pain in the you-know-what for the next 5 years, because I think they will continue to be. USB, I'm not quite sure what they were thinking about there. HD-based T, I would pick as a runner-up if we can really get to the point where they are interchangeable, which I don't think most of them are yet, and we can literally just swap device HD-based T device A from manufacturer A with from manufacturer B and actually have them work together.
Well, you make a good point here, because not just HD-based T is having issues with that, but AVB as well. And I shouldn't say issues, because honestly, at Infocom last year, both pavilions had working talkers and listeners, working senders and receivers. Now, granted, it was a show floor, it was a trade show floor, so everything's magical and everything works on a trade show floor. But they are at least making, progress. HD-based T has their alliance and they have certifications. We'll talk about that in a second. AVB has their certifications as well at the University of New Hampshire. Does that matter? I mean, is that important to have back and forth, or is it one of those things where, it's a Kramer or it's an X box or it's a Y box? I'm just going to buy both ends from the same company.
There's a lot to be said for that, actually, because there are problems otherwise, and I think I think it is kind of also symptomatic of other problems in that chain, because I've found using, I use CAT extenders or HD-based T extenders from one company. I'll put them between a switcher and a projector from two different other companies, and I'll have problems.
Yeah.
And so.
And they all blame the others.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You are, if I can say so, SOL as far as getting help from any of those folks, because it's them. Yeah. And so right now, I think the smart money is on buying things from, one, your companies that are the one answer. It's like the old joke. Nobody ever lost their job buying IBM computers for years and years, because you knew it would work. It wasn't necessarily the only or even the best or even the most cutting edge answer in business, but it worked. And the answer of getting everything from one company might not be the most elegant or the most whiz bang or the most
economical.
Or we love AV, being AV guys, we love that innovative, neat collection of things which just works perfectly, that we put some art into it, and that doesn't always work right now.
Yeah. All right. Moving on, ClickShare, if you're not familiar with it, it's from a company called Barco. Maybe you've heard of them. They make projectors as well. But ClickShare has a neat little a promotion, let's say. And this is, I don't even know where I got this from Starin, actually. Give your customer a 30-day risk-free trial. In other words, get this in their hand. Get a demo unit for 30 days and, let them try it out. We're going to go around the horn, and the basic question is this, guys. Do promotions like this work? Does getting the product in your hand for an extended period of time, and let's admit it here, a month is not a year, but it's longer than 2 or 3 days, and you have to ship it back in the box. Ernie, we'll start with you. Do promotions like this work to get it? If you were thinking about it, maybe it gives you actual real world experience in your world.
I like the idea, and I do try to get demos of new products that we can hold on for 30 to 45 days whenever I can. That is difficult at times. The problem I have with this, at least this specific one, is that it requires a conditional PO.
Oh, yeah.
And that is real hard to do in our university system. You're either going to buy it or you're not. Is what they tell me. I guess we could look at it as a rental period. But when I do see the ads like that, yes, I may be interested. May try to call someone, see if I can't get a hold of one, and do I really have to have the PO and things like that? Would I like to try it for 30 days? Most definitely. And like I said, these ads at least do get my attention. I don't always follow up with them, but I do stop and read them anyway.
Is 30 days long enough, or what would your ideal be? Obviously, you're not going to keep it for a year, but what would your ideal?
I'm not going to keep. I would say 30 to 45 days would be what I would really like to see. Realistically, we're going to spend probably 2 weeks of time with it.
Yeah.
And if I've got 30 days, we've got time to kind of work it into the schedule. If you give me less than that, we're rushing. We're not going to spend a lot of time with it. And if an emergency comes up in a classroom, then that's going to take priority, and we're just going to push it to the side. So
Amen,
like I said, at least 30 days is what I would like to see.
Yeah, the whole emergency thing always gets you. Mr. Brown, if you had this for 30 days, is this something that works for you guys, where getting it in your hands helps make the purchasing decision?
Well, I agree with Ernie that getting a conditional PO like that is not going to happen. But I'm kind of reminded of what was the line you once used, Tim? Your UC freaking LA.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, we're kind of in the position where we ask, we get a 30-day trial of pretty much anything. I mean, I don't know. I really can't think of anything where when we've asked, we haven't gotten something as a demo, and really we shouldn't. And if it came right down to it, if we couldn't do that, we probably wouldn't buy something based on that.
Well, aren't you guys something? Jeez.
Well, I hate to make it sound that way, but hey, when you got it, you got it.
But here's the other. Hang on. Here's the other side of that.
More higher ed folks, and I understand it's not.
But here's the other side of that. The C part of UCLA stands for California, and y'all ain't got any money anymore. So.
Apparently things are turning around.
Oh, really?
We don't have any water now, but the new budget includes an increase for both the UCs and the Cal State systems.
Wow.
Yeah.
Means Greg gets a raise. Good for you. Never
I'm
mind.
not seeing that happening anytime
All
soon.
right, Mr. Tyner. Does stuff like this work for you? I mean, getting things in your campus, in your hands, in your actual classrooms. Do promotions like this work, or is it just kind of not a waste of your time, but something silly?
Yeah, so we're about as geographically and
economically,
size-wise different from UCLA as you can get. And so for us, this to me really speaks to somebody who's just on the fence about buying this. And just doesn't really want to quite yet commit to it. They want to just see it in action. So for me, this isn't going to interest me to buy ClickShare. I actually have no interest in ClickShare to begin with, so this certainly this certainly wouldn't intrigue me to do it. And part of it is that whole, like they've said, the whole PO thing. Certainly we like getting demos. We don't get them as easy as UC friggin' LA does. But I don't think that this is for just anybody who stumbles upon it and goes, oh, hey, I'd like to try one of those out. It's for somebody who's got a room and a plan in place and decides that this is the time to try it out.
Okay, that's valid. We mentioned it before, Kramer, or just extenders in general, but we'll speak a little bit more directly about this specific product. Kramer has a new range extender. And it's been certified by the HD-Base-T Alliance. If you're not familiar with HD-Base-T, it's a point-to-point HD and control and audio. HD video and audio and control. And if you believe the HD-Base-T Alliance Pavilion last year, power soon, at least a small amount of power very soon. But it sends HD audio and HD video and audio and all that stuff over Cat5, over Twisted Pair. And you can do longer ranges, right? I mean, you can do things like, the typical HDMI cable, at least. Depends on which one you look at. They're sometimes rated for 30 feet, sometimes rated for 50 feet, even though there are people who will sell you a 1,000-foot HDMI cable, and those people should be slapped. But yeah, that's the problem with HDMI is there's not really a good standard that says this is how long this is supposed to go, right? So that's why stuff like HD-Base-T and DM and AMX's Twisted Pair solution have come out, is because they will certify it for X amount of feet. Scott, we'll start with you on this one. First of all, does it matter that it's been certified by the technology alliance that they're going after? So in other words, this one is HD-Base-T. So does it matter that the folks who do HD-Base-T, does it matter that they've certified this?
I don't believe it does. I think that if we've done some reading on HD-Base-T, there's various levels of certification. Some levels carry audio and video, some levels carry audio and Ethernet, some levels carry blah, blah, blah. I think that that's our problem with HD-Base-T right now, and I think that, again, if we talk about technologies of the next 5 years, one of the things we're going to look at is an HD-Base-T type of connectivity. I think that is like a lot of technologies, there's some frustration with HD-Base-T to start, and so what we end up with is not going to be HD-Base-T. It's going to be something different, but that same concept of all of this stuff over UTP. And I say UTP hoping because what drives me nuts is when people start talking about shielded twisted pair, because the beauty of UTP is it's everywhere, and shielded twisted pair is not, and you get caught a lot on that. So I don't think that it matters that Kramer has gotten the certification. I think the products and the promise of the technology is encouraging.
Greg, for you guys, does it matter that this has been certified? Does that help sell it to the IT folks? Greg has muted himself, so that's always fun. All right, we'll move on to Ernie. Ernie, does it matter that it's been certified?
For most things, I would say yes, but for what we're seeing with the HD-Base-T and what certification really means, I'm going to say no.
I'm back.
Because, hey, Greg, welcome back. Like we said, there's so many different flavors of HD-Base-T. And yes, they tell us if it's certified, the two devices are going to talk to each other no matter who made them. I haven't found that to be true. So I haven't tried a whole lot, so we found what we like and we stick with it. When we start seeing, the HD Base-T devices where they're more like a connector, they're fully interchangeable. You don't have to have brand X at both ends, and it really works and it does what they tell us it's supposed to do. Then I'll look at the certification again, and we'll look at the various products. But right now, I'm going to have to get it in and test it, like we talked about with the previous discussion here.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Brown, you thought you found your unmute button. What does this?
Hey, this has a switch on it, and when you throw the switch, it gets really quiet.
I'm sorry.
On your end.
An AV guy is talking about a switch that he doesn't understand.
Yeah, toggle switch. What a radical new concept. And I was sounding intelligent there for a minute.
I'm certain you were.
So.
Hey, Greg, actually, that was the smartest thing I've ever heard you say on the show.
Yeah, so your softball slow pitch over to the plate.
Man.
Yeah. No, what I was going to actually what I was saying was that with all apologies to our former colleague Matt Silverman, what is the greatest thing about standards?
There's so many to choose
from. There's so many to choose from, and I think it's great. I would like to see more companies making this effort. I mean, my days of being a little hesitant about the interchangeability of HD-based products have definitely come to a middle. So we'll see where this leads. I think it's a good move, but they've got a way to go.
All right, so let me throw this one at you guys, because I think it is. I actually think it does matter. I think it's important for HD-based T to push forward and for them to make inroads into the AV industry, as well as for us taking this to IT guys, right? Because let's be honest, a lot of us have to deal with the IT departments. So that this plus AVB's push to get their certification up and running in the University of New Hampshire. That being the case, this question came to me, and if it's nothing, then you guys can tell me I'm silly, and we'll move on. With the exception of outside of HD-based T and AVB, are there anything that you need or want or would desire to see certified, right? Whether that's lumens, because that's one thing that we've talked about before, the fact that not every manufacturer measures lumens the same. And then we get into the whole laser and LED and OLED technologies and all that jazz. Or is it, decibel is technically one thing that is a standard. But are there any certifications maybe that you would see useful in AV, whether it's projectors or whether it's IT connectivity or what have you? Greg? You muted yourself again, brother. I don't believe this.
I'm having a great day.
You are having an awesome day. UCL freaking A.
Like I said,
your tax dollars at work, Californians.
Slide switch, what a concept. Yeah. And there goes my train of thought. I think actually this is probably one of the key ones that I can think of. HD-based T and probably AVB once it gets past being AB, like it is now. Mm-hmm. Those are, I think, the areas where we're having trouble or seem to be having trouble. At least from my perspective, I'd be curious to hear what the other guys have to say.
Ernie, for you, are there anything that you could see having a use for having a certification like this?
I mean, we're kind of new into that in the AV industry and seeing standards, and we've had best practices for a long time. I would like to see standards, like you said, on lumens. I don't know that we ever will.
Yeah.
I would like to. I think anything measurable, we should have a standard that we try to set to. But determining how to measure it and where to measure it, we're looking at a lot of audio standards in the industry right now. So, but as far as a certification on like the HD base T stuff that we just talked about, I don't know that the certification is going to help, or the standardization is going to help right now. I'd like to see it, but I don't see it happening.
Yeah. Mr. Tyner, last but not least, for you on this one, any sort of certifications or standards?
Yeah. So I think that all of us have experienced this promises that never come true. These standards that aren't really standards, and I think that particularly with HD-based T or AVB, they're so massive, right? I mean, HD-based T or AVB, we're talking about our entire infrastructure. Like, this will carry everything. And so it's really hard to believe or see a time where that can be, completely standardized and have these stamps of approval on them. But if you look at smaller things like we talked about earlier, like Miracast, again, you're not talking about communication between 800 million different things. You've got Miracast on both ends and specific standards that it matches to meet both ends. That type of certification is very valuable. I think the other one that we see more and more of is on people and not on equipment. I have really over time come to find certifications, whether it's from a company or from Infocom, to be really valuable and actually mean something.
Okay, so and I get what you're saying about Miracast because I get the whole end to end. Is there a value though in having a standard that can be cross-platform? Where granted this may be a holy grail and it may be pie in the sky, but it is kind of what AVB and both HD base and HD base T is saying, where you don't have to stick with brand Y or brand B or brand C. You can, if it works, right? You can get it from wherever you want. So, is there a value maybe in doing something like like you're saying with Miracast, only maybe a more open standard?
So sure. So maybe all three of us have gone towards the reality view of this. So if you're saying, is it valuable? Of course. I mean, there's no question, right? If we knew that if something said HD base T and that was stamped on the front of it, that meant it would work with anything. I mean, I'd go on vacation next week. It'd be fantastic.
Yes, because when brand A goes out of business and you've lost one end of the device, just being able to go out and buy from brand Z that just came on the market and know that I plug it in and it's going to communicate and give me what I need, that would be great. I'd love to see it. Do I expect it? No.
We're just a bunch of curmudgeon-y old realists.
I was going to say, Tiny would go on vacation if he could get out of the house at this point.
Oh, nice. That was a snow joke from the guy who has a beach 3 miles from his house. So,
no, it's about 6.
Thank you very much. Here's the other thing, and this is something we've talked about before, but it's the whole idea of breaking up one relationship and going, going out with another. Scott's written about a couple times on his blog on Rave. That helps that, honestly, in my opinion, because one of the things AMX has a new education liaison, at least for the St. Louis, the Midwest area. And that was one of the conversations I had with her. I said, look, we have a lot of Crestron on our campus. We have a fair amount of Extron on our campus. You make a good product. I do like some of AMX's stuff. The issue is the fact that a long time ago, for whatever reason, our campus decided to standardize on Crestron. And what you're asking me to do is not this year or next year or in one year, but over the course of time, ask my administration for, I don't know, $350,000, $400,000 to switch out perfectly good equipment and, to get all that stuff back on. And if we had something like this, like Ernie said, one goes out of business, or one just kind of goes off the deep end and goes crazy and stops going to Infocom and ISE and stuff like that. You can go to another brand, and that's, I guess.
Just for the record, Tim said that.
I didn't say. I said, maybe you stop going for whatever reason.
But they know where I live.
They don't know where I live, thankfully. All right, guys, you are listening and watching EdTech. Thank you so much for doing so. That gentleman right there is Scott Tyner. He's up in Bates College. UCLA boy there is Greg Brown, and Ernie Bailey from the University of Arkansas. Ernie, where you're at, is it still the Razorbacks, or is it like a sub? You guys have your own team?
We're pretty much support the Razorbacks.
Okay.
We do not. Our campus is strictly a health science campus, so we do not have any sports.
So you fix the football players?
Yeah, we fix the football players, exactly.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, guys, we're going to go to this one on the Corning antimicrobial Gorilla Glass. According to ZDNet, it is a must-have for kiosks. And, of course, I see kiosk, I see Gorilla Glass, who did an incredible presentation at Infocom last year. If you happen to see it, it was very impressive. They had very large men and women pushing on this glass and trying to break it, and it was not possible. They had these steel beams that you could jam into their glass and push on it with everything you had, and it wasn't touching. So, first question for you that was this: whether it's antimicrobial or whatever else Gorilla Glass has, how long before we start seeing touch panel manufacturers, whether it's AMX or Crestron or Extron or whoever, start incorporating things like Gorilla Glass? Because I can't be the only one who has seen a smashed up touch panel. Scott, we'll start with you on this one. Should touch panel manufacturers start incorporating this unbreakable stuff?
So I actually have never. We've never had a smashed touch panel here at Bates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've got well-behaved.
I'll send you some of my faculty.
Yeah, right. It wasn't students that broke it.
Yeah.
So you are, for starters, you are talking to just a certified germaphobe right now.
Okay.
As you can see, my shelf's almost empty, but one of the things that's back there is Lysol wipes.
Of course.
And my entire office gets wiped down every time somebody leaves it.
Is that product placement?
Yeah. And I've also got hand sanitizer right ready at the go on my desk.
That's not nearly a big enough jar.
Oh, I've got like 5 of them. I don't run out of hand sanitizer. So for me, that's really important. I hate going into a room and touching a touch panel and knowing people have done all kinds of weird things to it. And I think certainly for some type of premium, when you're talking about digital signage, the Gorilla Glass would be really fantastic and helpful because we have seen it get damaged. I don't even want to say by misuse. You put something in a hallway that's going to get 1,000 people walking by it a day. Something's going to happen to it eventually. Somebody hits it with a bag or whatever. But for me, the touch panel on the podium in the classroom, I would not choose to pay a premium for the Gorilla Glass on that.
And not even the antimicrobial stuff?
Oh, I would absolutely pay for a premium on that. But I actually just use latex gloves when I need to do that.
Lord. You are. All right, Mr. Brown, UCLA, what say you on the Gorilla Glass, whether it's the unbreakable stuff or the antimicrobial or...
I think they're both important, and I hope to see both of them out soon, or more commonly available than they are. We don't have a lot of touch panels yet, but we have a lot of computer monitors on arms, and it was not typically the glass that got broken. They would spin those around and smash the sides of the plastic case a lot on those, unfortunately. But I think as we get more touch panels out, I think the breakage to some extent, but also the antimicrobial aspect. I think some of your more as I'm going to get myself into terrible trouble here.
That's right.
As what do you care, right? If you are if I can say the word that I hear bandied about all the time, a more elite university, I think you are sometimes susceptible to having faculty who edge ever so closer to the more prima donna side of the scale. And so I fully suspect that touching touch panels, I've seen them get TAs to open their email because they had trouble opening their email. So I think getting people to manipulate touch panels for them is not going to be surprising to me.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Bailey, you'll have the last word on this. Both either the unbreakable stuff and the anti-germ one.
Okay. Well, the unbreakable stuff sounds nice to me. The anti-germ, the antimicrobial, is what really sounds good. We are a health science campus, and we have, our physicians are also, our faculty are also physicians or nurses or pharmacists that are dealing with patients and with whatever, and something that makes it a little bit safer in the classroom, as well as when we're now putting more devices closer to patient care areas. We're becoming less and less segregated between the academic and the health science parts of our campus. So I see that as a big push. We're putting in kiosk for patient interaction and things like that. So I really like that. Like I said, I don't have a breakage issue here on our campus very often with touch panels, but that would be a bonus.
All right, let me tell you my one breakage story, just because I've said it. I don't know if on this show I've said it on AV Week before. So we get a call that a touch panel does not work, and walk in, and there's a 17-inch Crestron touch panel. Now, for those of you who are familiar with Crestron over the years, a 17-inch touch panel used to cost roughly $15,000 to $17,000.
$1,000 an inch.
Yeah, $1,000 exactly, $1,000 an inch. So you've got this screen, and there's an indentation in the middle of it, and it has shattered and spiderwebbed all over the place, and you can clearly see where there was a fist straight in the middle of it. After some slight investigation, not much because I'm not the greatest investigator in the world, it turns out that one of our faculty who has, more PhDs than I have letters in my last name, was insulted by the touch panel because he had shut it off, and how dare it tell him that he has to wait 90 seconds to turn it back on again. Let that sink in for a second, gentlemen. He had to wait 90 seconds because that's how long the projector took to cool down, and so the person who programmed it put that on there, like most of us have in some of our touch panels, a cool-down period with a little progress bar, and he didn't take too kindly to a piece of technology telling him he had to do anything. So
that cool-down period wasn't working.
No, no, it did not. No, it did not.
And you're clearly far more of an elite university than I thought you were at there, Tim.
Yeah, that was, yeah. And because he's got so many PhDs, we were just told pretty much to eat it and buy a new one as quickly as possible and get it in there as quickly as possible. So, and we had to take off that little 90 seconds cooldown. So, yeah. All right. That's all I got. Yeah, that's the only story I got. It's the best one I got.
So how mad would he have been if he couldn't have broken it?
That's awesome. That's very nice. Very well done. Probably he would probably be more
that's
mad.
That's the question. What does he hit next?
Student? I don't know.
You should have changed it to a 120-second cooldown period.
There you go. An hour. You have to.
That's the upgrade.
10. Yeah.
That's how you solve that one.
Corning unbreakable glass, and you have to wait an hour. That's awesome. All right, guys. That's going to do it for this month. With us, as always, Mr. Scott Tyner. He is from Bates College, but he's also a fine blogger and columnist for Rave Publications. How can people find you, sir?
Either over at Rave here or on Twitter at @STyner.
All right. UCLA boy there who's enjoying probably Bermuda shorts and a nice short sleeve shirt. Name is Greg Brown.
It's been 80 degrees for the last 2 weeks.
I do feel your pain.
Yeah, well,
It was 10 this morning when I woke up.
Next Wednesday, January 29th at 1 o'clock, I believe that is 1 o'clock Pacific. Yeah, it's 4 o'clock Eastern.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
That's
kind
late.
of a... Yeah. Their first choice was 7 o'clock Pacific, which I didn't think was a great choice either. But
7 a.m. or p.m. Pacific?
7 a.m. Pacific.
That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, who cares if nobody's out on the Pacific time anyway?
We're not in from lounging on the beach, with
Exactly.
having our morning Mai Tais, right?
Yeah.
Greg is still surfing at 7
the tech, right? That's the Technology Managers Council meeting. If you're interested, if you're not a member, go on the Infocom website and look up the Technology Managers Council and join. We have yet another. We have a different person who is our official contact person. We're on
Contact of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like our fourth in the last year, I think. So, obviously, I'm having quite an effect being the council president.
Well, you're also going to have...
I had the same person for 3 years when I was there.
Well, that's the thing is, the one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning of this show is the fact that all three of you are either present, obviously, with Greg, or former Technology Manager Council chairs. So...
And I'll just throw out there, like Ernie, I had the same person for my entire tenure. So
yeah, just remember, guys, they're looking for somebody to take over when I leave, and it's like cooking at the firehouse. The guy who complains the most, gets the job. So keep it up, both of you.
Did I mention that I'm having to resign from it? So, Ernie, how can people find you, sir?
Find me on LinkedIn. It's probably the best way to get a hold of me.
All right.
So.
Very good. You don't find me. I'm just an idiot. But go by the website if you would, please. Our web team has done an awful, wonderful job. It's getting better every day.
It's a great website.
Thank you.
Now.
I didn't do it, but thank you. AVNation.tv, AVNation.tv, the latest blogs, the latest podcasts that we have. Just did a lot. I didn't do it, but George Tucker just did a new Live Life. which is our live staging and event show. We have a new social media, our AV social coming out. And I was just emailing this morning Steve Greenblatt of our Control Concepts, who does our State of Control. And he's going to have one out either next week or week after next. So, yeah, go by the website, avnation.tv, avnation.tv. So thanks so much for listening. This has been EdTech.